I definitely dropped a tear, and I was like, baby, you know, mom's not coming home. You know, she's going to, you know, she's going to be with God. And I remember my daughter's face, even right now, as I'm telling you.
Yeah, man.
You know, she cried. She's like, what? And, you know, the tears came down. And I remember telling my daughter, I was like, you know, mommy's not going to be here in person, but we're going to carry her in our hearts for forever. She's going to always be with us in everything that we do. And I don't never want you to forget that. And it was, I didn't expect this change with my daughter. Like, yeah, man, if my daughter was here, she would be like, Daddy, don't do it. Daddy, don't do it.
What's happening? No captain. We with AO, about to get a plate. Pull up to the table. Let's go.
So they say that, especially within the black family, or really much all families, you know, I'm always saying black families, and that's not even a proven stat. But they say that when it comes to building wealth long term, the first generation builds it. Then when that generation dies, it passes down to the next generation. That generation maintains it. And then after that generation maintains it and they die, it passes off to the next generation. And the third generation loses it. Not because they didn't have the capabilities of building the wealth, expanding the wealth. It's because they didn't have the information that was passed down from the first generation. I'm really excited about today's guest, Courtney Hale, because this young man has an amazing story. We're going to dive into his story, but his heart, his passion is making sure currently as a single father today, due to a traumatic situation, he stepped up to the plate and said, you know what, I got to make sure that his daughter, I'm going to say my daughter, it's my niece, but his daughter is properly prepared to handle the wealth that she's going to receive from him and whoever he decides to settle down with in the near future. And I invited him to the table because a lot of us have kids. A lot of us want to see our kids win, but there are certain things that we have to put into place personally and transfer and teach that down to our kids. We just can't give our kids money. We also got to give them wealth, which is the main thing is knowledge. So I want you to keep it locked today because we're going to have this conversation about how do we really teach our kids how to deal with wealth? What are the rich teaching their kids? And so today it's going to be a good conversation. But before we get to my guest today here at the table, hey, one of the key things when it comes to passing down wealth is life insurance. If you as a parent, as a loved one, do not have life insurance, your priorities are not in place. And respectfully, I'm saying this, you're selfish. Because oftentimes we only think about where we are today, but we do not think about tomorrow. It is a 100% guarantee we are going to pass. And I'm going to be real with you, as a Christian, I'm going home to be with the Lord one day. And you know what? When I go home to be with the Lord and I'm happy, I'm excited, I'm with Jesus, I don't want to look down on earth. And because of my poor decisions while I was living, now my wife and now my kids and now my family is struggling because I wasn't wise and I wasn't thinking about them. So I'm up in heaven having a great time. I'm in a much better place than this earth. And my family is left on this earth and they're struggling. They can't pay bills and they don't have my income to help to provide. And so I partnered with an amazing organization called Ethos. You can go to anthonyoneal.com/ethos. And I want you to take the opportunity to get term life insurance today. It will take you not even 11 minutes to fill out this application. And you can get all the way up to $2 million in coverage today without going to the doctor with no blood work. Just answer a couple of questions. And today, your loved ones, your family, your kids can be secured. And what can you do with this stuff? Man, you can pay off your homes. You can pay for kids' colleges. You can put money to a trust that goes into them at a certain age. You can really give your kids an alley hoop, not pass the baton, but no, you can throw an alley hoop to them to make sure that they really win in the near future. So will you do me a favor? Ashley, don't do me a favor. Do you a favor. Get coverage today. It's affordable. For $50, for $60, you can get $1 million policy. And that can set your kids and your loved ones up for success when we're up in heaven, chilling and having a good time with our Creator. Go to anthonyoneal.com/ethos and make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because today's conversation is going to be full, it's going to be rich, and it's going to be full of a lot of wisdom. Because we got my boy Courtney in the building. What's up, fam? You good?
Yo, what's good?
Man, I'm chilling, brother. Man, listen, man. We gonna get into it, Doc. So about 2 years ago, It's longer than that, actually. About 3 years ago, I'm sitting in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm at one of my favorite spots in Nashville, Tennessee, with one of my most favorite people, Mignon Francois. I call her my Nashville mama. You know, some of the best cupcakes in the world, right? And so she's been on my show a couple of times, and sometimes I'll just go down to her and just talk to her about life. She's like, yo, I got this young man I need you to meet. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. And she doesn't ask me to meet a lot of people. I think since I've known her for 4 years, she's only asked me to talk to 3 people in 4 years. And a lot of people come up to her shop, like, yo, I want to meet your Nashville son, Ayo. And she'll be like, oh, okay. And she'll never ask me to talk to him. But then she brought your name up, and I was like, I don't know this guy. But she connected us. Yeah. And I think right around that time, right after that time, unfortunately, you went through a life dramatic situation.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a chance to connect. And then things happened, and we reconnected through some other mutual friends, man. I said, yo, I got to get you on the show. But you are the creator of Super Money Kids, and you have a passion about helping young people and kids gain the wisdom when it comes to wealth. I want to go all the way back to your story, but I want to see where did that start. So back in 2020, tell me a little bit about your life, where you were, and what sparked where you are today with teaching young people how to build true wealth.
Yeah, man, 2020, you know, it was a crazy year for everybody, yes. Right? Yeah. In Nashville, we had the tornado. March 3rd, tornado comes through and destroys everything, including where I was working at the time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Destroyed that building. Obviously, this is when the pandemic started. And the pandemic was really interesting for me and my family because at the time, it was myself, my wife, my mother-in-law lived with us as well. Okay. And my daughter, who was 5 at the time.
Wow.
And it was a beautiful thing for me to be home with my wife. Yeah. I mean, she was my best friend. Yeah. We kicked it, we laughed, we were affectionate, and we got to raise this little amazing girl in the process. Yeah. So we hated, you know, what was happening and people being sick and what the world looked like at the time. Yeah. But to be home with my family was beautiful for me. Yeah. And quickly I realized that for me personally, that ended up being a gift because May 18th, 2020, my wife actually passed.
Wow.
She had received a heart transplant in 2019 and it brought her just back and was really living a beautiful life, healthy, inspired, glowing. And, you know, God wanted us to have that time because he knew that he was taking her home a year later. And so she passed, and, you know, my company was really in an interesting place. We had really just launched the Super Money Kid brand a few months prior, right at the end of 2019. And, you know, as an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, it's an insane path in life in general. But a lot of people forget that we're still people. In the process. Yeah. And so figuring out what to do with my company at a time where the world was shut down, dealing with the loss of my wife and having to guide my daughter through that process, there was just a lot of uncertainty. And I really got to the place where I didn't think I was gonna do it anymore.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was gonna be done.
Man.
And there were a lot of things that I was committing to, but you know, when you're in a traumatic frame of mind, you know, you can't really think straight. Yeah. But a few months passed and we really saw the pandemic and students learning at home as an opportunity. So a lot of the programming that we had designed, we digitized all of it.
For real.
And it instantly became high demand. We were able to just move into cities and states that we hadn't worked in before. And so it became some good that I desperately needed as I was coping with the loss of my wife. And, you know, we really wanted to use that experience and honor her memory in everything that we designed and that we were doing. And so as we talk more about the importance of youth financial literacy, it is taking advantage of the time that you have when you have it.
Yeah.
Nothing is guaranteed. Live your best life, plan for the future, achieve your goals and shoot high fast, right? Don't wait. Yeah. And so it was just a whirlwind year.
Yeah. I'm curious, losing your wife and then your daughter losing her mother. As a father, how did you have that conversation? And what was your daughter's response to, man, she'll never see her mom again on earth?
So this all happened so fast. After Tia's heart transplant, she was in probably the best shape of her life.
Wow.
There was a particular weekend, she was complaining of some back pain. Okay. I was like, okay, no big deal. We'll go to the doctor. So we told my mother-in-law, told my father-in-law, and told everyone, like, hey, I'm gonna take mom to the doctor, get her checked out, and we'll be back. This was on a Saturday.
Okay.
It was a Saturday afternoon. Monday around noon, Tia had passed.
What?
Yeah.
Took her to the hospital on Saturday. 2 days later, she passed.
Yeah. In an instant. And so to go home when everybody is expecting mom to come back home, and I remember taking my daughter in her room, and like, hey, man, she's like, how's mommy? It's the first thing she says, and I definitely dropped a tear, and I was like, baby, mom's not coming home. She's going to, she's going to be with God. And I remember my daughter's face, even right now, as I'm telling you.
Yeah, man.
She cried. She was like, what? And, the tears came down. And I remember telling my daughter, I was like, mommy's not going to be here in person, but we're going to carry her in our hearts for forever.
Yeah.
She's going to always be with us in everything that we do. And I don't never want you to forget that.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect this change with my daughter.
Cried.
Like, yeah, man, if my daughter was here, she would be like, Daddy, don't do it. Daddy, don't do it. She's on me hard about my tears. I show my emotions in front of my daughter.
That's good.
I want her to know that it's okay to be human.
Yeah.
But in that instant, I told her, like, we're going to carry mom with us forever.
Yeah.
It's like the clouds cleared. She dried her face, and she was like, okay. And she walked down those steps in our house, and she told everybody, like, we're going to be okay because mom is going to be in our hearts forever.
Wow.
And it was interesting to see adults, like, look at this little girl and was like, they were, I was amazed,
Right.
And it was really, she really provided me with the support that I needed for a year that helped me get through. Because I can't walk around broke down when my daughter
is right. Man.
Yeah.
Boy, that's listening to that story again. And I've never been married, but I'm like, man, how would I respond? How would I say that to my daughter, to my kids, and losing the love of my life, best friend, And y'all met at Tennessee State.
Yeah, so we started dating at Tennessee State. We've known each other since high school.
Gotcha.
And high school was never anything romantic. We was cool. We see each other at a basketball game. We like, what's up? But we started dating in college. We had a class together, and
man,
I showed up to class unprepared. And
she had you right from there.
Man, she was always over-prepared. And from that moment, man, we were inseparable.
Oh, man. Dude, just hearing the story, man, I salute you as a man, as a father, as a husband, and what you're doing now. So where did the love for money come from? Like, where did the love for educating young people on finances come from?
Yeah, so I'm from North Nashville.
Okay.
Right? It's an area that's not known for having a lot of wealth.
Absolutely.
My family, we had, I come from an amazingly spiritual and loving family.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Money wasn't something that we had mastered, though.
Okay.
And so, there were a variety of financial struggles that I experienced as a kid, and I saw how that impacted our personal lives. My mom ended up marrying my stepdad, who legally adopted me, and they both were aspiring entrepreneurs, right?
Okay.
They just had different approaches.
Right.
My mom was a creative.
Okay.
And, my stepdad is more of a traditional businessman, and he was a type, he's willing to take every risk out there to achieve what he wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
My mom was more cautious. She was like, hey, we have 3 kids. We have to be more responsible and strategic in how we manage our money despite what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
And honestly, those clashes in views about money, family, time, and other things that adults have, going on.
Right.
It led to them getting a divorce, and, that led to some other problems in our household. But, I would go on and I would work in the financial services industry. I worked as a wealth manager. I worked for a fintech company. And, when you become an adult and you start working in a space that you struggled with as a kid, you start to do this reconciliation. Like, I'm meeting these people that are multimillionaires, and I'm meeting people who had lost millions of dollars as well. And I'm kind of I'm trying to reconcile where in my childhood, what happened? Like, why we didn't have this? And there were a couple things that I realized. I actually came to the conclusion that neither my mom or my dad were wrong. When it's something you want in life, you got to go after it. You have to be aggressive, right? You have to be fearless, but you also want to do that in a way that's strategic.
Yeah.
My parents didn't have any type of small business training. There wasn't a Super Money Kids to teach them about money. And realizing that I wanted to create a lifestyle for my family that was different than how I grew up. And God blessed me with a woman that wanted to create a lifestyle for her and her family that was different than how she grew up.
Wow.
It created this passion. And I saw a lot of people, there were resources available for adults to get their money together. But there's a Frederick Douglass quote that says, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And, I got to thinking about that.
Yeah.
And I got to thinking about what it's like to grow up in America, especially when you coming from poverty or you coming from a community of color. There was education that we needed to be given to our kids, and there was virtually nobody doing it.
Yeah.
And I went and I started talking to all my smart friends. Like, when I have an idea, I go to all my smart friends.
Yeah.
And what y'all think about this? And, friend after friend was like, hey, yeah, I think you can do this.
Yeah.
And after a while, you realize this problem that you've identified, you're uniquely qualified to design the solution. So then it became up to me to create the solution. And so that's how we got started.
So you did some studying and researching, right? Around what are some things you need to be teaching kids. Like 5 things. I agree with all 4 of them but 1.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Courtney. But it's good. We can have the conversation. But before we go there, one thing I read about your story, which I thought was so amazing, is that you and Tia actually had a $3,000 wedding?
Yeah.
Why?
So again, we were aligned in so much when we got married.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we just didn't believe in was to have a really lavish wedding and spending all the money on the things and feeding, 300-400 people. We're like, how can we do this in a way that's cost effective, that we can pay for it ourselves? We don't have to borrow any money, but it can still be nice, because we do have high standards and we like nice things.
Yeah.
And so we were like, how can we do this? How can we not spend a lot of money? And so what we did was we chose to have a destination wedding. That was going to allow us to not have to pay a ridiculous amount for a venue.
Okay.
And have to pay for a full meal.
Okay.
We got enough people to go on the trip to where we got our trips for free.
For real?
Yeah. So we ended up having, I don't know, about 50 people that went on this. We're both from Nashville.
Yeah.
We have extremely loving families, and Nashville loves us. So we got a lot of people to pull up.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
You your wifey. We may be doing a destination wedding and have everyone else pay for the trip.
They pay for their own trip, man. And you ain't got to get us anything. And I think didn't you have the couple on your show that got married recently, and it was like $500? I remember seeing that, and I was excited for them because we don't see that a lot anymore. And we had done that before, social media was a huge thing.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, that's like one of the financial decisions that we made that really benefited us.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Courtney Hale, all the way from the beautiful city of Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a former resident of Nashville, but I had to leave because I wanted to see more black people.
Yeah. It's a struggle with that.
I'm gonna be real. I want to be around my community, and it just, yeah, man, But I mean, I'm not knocking it.
Hey, we call it we calling it White Atlanta now.
Are you serious?
We calling it White Atlanta.
Oh no, I'm happy I got out of there. But one thing that Courtney said, you guys, which is he said he started up in a lot of fintech companies, and I believe one of the best careers to get into when it comes to people of color is tech, because they're creating millionaires. They're creating jobs that are starting off around 70,000, 80,000, 100,000. I even met one guy who's in the creative art space for this tech company. He does $500,000 a year as an employee. And so because of that, I've partnered with a company called Bethel Tech, and Bethel Tech is providing a 9-month program. And on average, when you graduate from that program, you'll make anywhere from $80,000 to about $120,000 when you graduate. And then from there, over a period of years, you could be making some good high 6 figures of income. Their program is very, very affordable, and they're also giving my tribe and my tribe only, a scholarship. So I want you to go check them out at anthonyoneal.com/Bethel. Tell them I sent you, and they will get you into the program to where you can maybe start a tech company in the next few years, or you can just be in the tech field as an employee, making some good benefits. And a lot of the tech companies now are giving you unlimited days off, I told my team, don't try it. We don't get no unlimited days off right here. We work it. I'm not sitting on billions of dollars yet. You know what I'm saying? When we get there, I might consider it. The key word was might. No, I'm just playing. But these tech companies, man, are offering some amazing packages out there, amazing income. And I think last time I checked, 70% of them are allowing you to work from home. So I'm like, yo, go get the education. If you're making $40,000, $60,000 a year and you're not really happy with this situation, listen, go into the tech field. Go to anthonyoneal.com/Bethel. So before we go, man, you got these things, man. 5 things that rich parents are teaching their kids because you did the study and you have the stuff. And I want to go through these things because I agree with all of them. And we're going to have to go back and forth on one of them, y'all. But I told him that up front. It was like, that's cool. And I still love the guy. I still love him. But do you remember the 5 things you put on my list?
Let's go for it.
All right. Number 1 is, you said ownership is the ultimate goal.
Ownership is the ultimate goal.
Break that down for us. What do you mean?
Yeah, so we grew up in America, and we're really trained to go be employees.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I'm not one of those people that speak against being an employee so you can be an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Because I wouldn't be able to do what I was able to do if I hadn't have been an employee.
Exactly.
But we have to think about how we can leverage our income and our salaries to own something.
Ooh.
All right?
Come on now.
Nothing is guaranteed. Your jobs aren't guaranteed. Yep. None of that. Yep. But if you have ownership, you have more control.
Yes.
And so that ownership can be whether it's real estate, owning stocks.
Yes.
Maybe it's you starting a side hustle.
Yeah.
We talk about one of the things that we had created with this Super Money Kids is main checks and side hustles, right?
Yeah.
So play off main chicks and side other thing, right? We got main checks and side hustles.
Oh, that's funny, Courtney. I don't see people hey, I like that. Main chick and side chicks. Okay, I got you.
So, you want to take that main check and be able to leverage it into a side hustle, something that you own that can grow, that can appreciate.
Yeah.
Right? And so we want to teach ownership.
Yeah.
That's where wealth is created.
And I like that too. I've been very big on that lately, especially within the people of color, because I believe that we are the most creative people, but we don't own our creativity. Mm-hmm. We sell our creativity to someone who doesn't even know how to sell it, really produce it, but they have the money, they have the leverage to go out there and to scale it long term. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm rooting for LeBron James to own an NBA team.
Man, it's going to
You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope he owns a team that his sons are playing for. You know, because it's like, we need representation in the black community to own. Because when you look at the NBA, who are you really coming to watch? Black people.
That's it.
And there's no black ownership really like that outside of like Michael Jordan. But I want a black owner, not a black partial owner, not a black minority owner. No, I want a black majority owner. I was looking at the hair industry, like you said. I mean, me and you, this is why I like the guy. This is why I like him, because we thinking alike, except for one thing. But we thinking alike. You know, it's like, I was looking at the hair industry, man. It makes over $800 billion a year. And when you really look at the hair industry, black people, minority people are really leading in that space. But we only own 3% of that space. But we consume close to 700 billion of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, we have to own. So it's like, use your job as a leverage, as a vehicle to own something. Whether that's a side business, like you said, whether that is, you know, mortgages, real estate, property, investments. Do something to where we can own. Because here's the thing. We can teach our kids how to own, man. I think we'll have healthier marriages. I think we'll have healthier people. Because then now they don't have to do certain things. They don't have to go to that job because they have ownership.
Yeah.
They show up and honestly, watch this. When you actually have ownership, it makes better employees. Because then now they're working places that they really desire to work at.
Absolutely.
And they'll show up and work even better because now they have this freedom over here. I tell that to my team all the time. Like, man, listen, I want them to go out there. As long as they get the job done here and help us continue to impact, I don't care what they do on the side. Because I want them to be free. I want them to come in here and not be stressed. So, man, ownership is key. Ownership is the ultimate goal. Uh-oh. I'm going to skip over this one.
I know you're going to go to that one last.
Yeah, we're going to go with that one last. What else? Increase income and assets.
Income and assets matter, right? We live in a society where we're taught to have jobs, and it's about making six figures. How can we, get a bonus, every quarter or every year? We're always thinking about income, but assets are what allow us to build wealth. So you want to teach your kids, you want to have a wealth conversation. All right, you want to have a friend that calls them wealth meetings. Have wealth meetings at home with your children. They need to understand that our net worth is our assets minus our liabilities. So our assets are things that we own that have value. Liabilities are things that we owe. Yes. Right? So we want to have that conversation and how assets and income work together. Early on, you have to have income in order to acquire the assets. But then once you have the assets, those assets can become income producing themselves.
Ooh, I like that one. I like that one. Does your curriculum teach anything to the parents on how to open up like custodial Roth IRAs and stuff like that?
We don't. Okay. We don't have anything specifically around custodial Roth IRAs. We are more so teaching the habits, right? And how to build onto those habits. Okay. So how saving leads to investing, right? And then everything kind of scaffolds from there.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. One of the best things that I've really been mentoring like some of the parents who come to me like, hey, how can I set my kids up and how do I have that wealth conversation? It's like what you said, have the basic foundations of work, save, give, work, get the money, teach them how, in exchange for work, you get income. When you get your income, my next one is give 10% to as a Christian, give 10%, practice giving, practice generosity, and then give to yourself, which is save, right? So
our Super Money Kids program, which is like our foundational course. It has I don't know if you saw the Super Money banks that we designed. It's like the 3 parts that have the save, spend, share. We built a curriculum around the banks. And that first module is introducing those money habits of save, spend, share. It includes a lesson on earning. So where does money come from? And then that bank becomes like an instructional tool and a visual reminder for everything that you need to be doing with your money.
I love it. I think a church just gave away one of your banks. I was speaking that. I spoke there Saturday, I think it was, a few Saturdays ago. It's pretty good. So that's amazing. And I think once we start teaching kids those foundations, when it comes to increase your income, increase your assets, we got to start teaching them about compound interest. And that's where a custodial Roth IRA comes into place. I was at this one particular church and a kid came up to me. He was like 11. 11 or 12. And it was like, hey, AO. And I was like, hey, people who call me AO only watch my show. He was like, yeah, my dad makes me watch your show every Monday. And I felt kind of convicted because I'd be talking about booties and Bibles on my show. And I got an 11-year-old sitting here watching. I'm like, oh, Lord, I need to keep that in mind. So, young man, I appreciate you, bro. When I talk about stuff like that, talk to your daddy. He'll help you. He'll help you understand what I'm talking about. Pops, help me out. But he said, man, what are some things that I could be doing now to prepare myself for 18? And I said, man, listen, instead of asking your mom and dad for money, ask your mom and dad for work. And tell your mom and dad, in exchange for work, I want to get paid. And then tell your mom and dad, you want to put 50% of that into a custodial Roth IRA. And he was like, custodial Roth IRA? I said, yeah. What if I told you, every dollar you give me, I'm going to give you 10 cents? How many more dollars you going to give me? He was like, I'll give you 10 more dollars. And I was like, wow, you just got an extra dollar. He said, wait, so if I give you 10, you going to give me $11? I was like, that's pretty much it. He said, so wait. And he started just calculating in his head, like, wait, so if I give you $100, that's this? I was like, yeah, over a long period of time, that's an example of what compound interest will do. The dude left, went to his pops in the middle of me talking and said, Dad, I got $200. Can we go to the bank after this? And to me, when I hear people say it's hard to teach kids about money, it's not hard to teach kids about money because kids want to learn about money. They want Jordans. They want all this nice stuff. We got to learn to put it in a way to where they can understand it, which I think what your program is doing is amazing because I think kids want to learn how to save, give, spend, but then also how do they get rich?
Yeah.
And if you can break it down like that,
it makes it easier for them. And you don't even have to use money.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I do with Ever, my daughter, her name is Ever, is we have a incentive program at home that's built around like these little coins. And I got this from a friend of mine named Leon Scott.
Okay.
And so I give her coins for, we call them productive task and creative tasks.
Yeah.
All right, or productive talents. They're productive tasks and productive talents.
Yeah.
And the idea is that the world compensates us for our talents and our tasks, right? Yeah. So we have a whole list of things that can be done, and you get a coin, and the coins can be redeemed for screen time, her playing with her makeup, a variety of different things. But how I teach her compound interest is every week she gets the opportunity to redeem her coins. I'm like, any coin that you leave in your save bank until the following week, I'll double it. And you know, one of the things I want to tell parents about money is it doesn't work like you just start teaching your kid and they get it immediately.
Right.
Like it requires some consistency. And my daughter is not like, she is the super money, she is the first child of super money kids, but she is not the easiest kid to teach anything to. Okay? And so in that, when we started this program, I fully expected her to be like, nah, I'm not saving these coins. We finna cash these things in. I'm finna look at some TikTok videos. All right. She, not only did she say, okay, I'll leave these in there, she has left the coins in the save bank for now 3 consecutive weeks.
Wow.
Has not redeemed. So I got to completely change the incentives, the program, the compound interest, because now she got enough coins. Now she could be watching TikTok for 24 hours, and I'm a bad parent. But yeah, we have to teach compound interest. Yes. We can do it the way that you mentioned, using cash. Families who don't have cash, and I'm gonna share this incentive program through our email and some other things, so we can get more families doing it. Yes. Or you can do it that way as well.
All right, man. Listen, that was number 3. That was number 3, guys. Compound interest is the secret to wealth, and I think we have to start having that conversation. One of the things that when I was teaching to the younger people was, just think about this. And it's a simple thing. It has nothing to do with money. It's like, hey, one good decision today, you may not see the reward tomorrow. But one good decision on top of one good decision, one good grade on top of one good grade, on top of one good grade, on top of one good grade, on top of a half of a grade to another good grade, over time, those small decisions that you've made compound and bring you back a huge reward. And I think once we start really educating young people on that, like, hey, here is the keys and the secrets that's going to set you up to be wealthy when you even get into college, wealthy when you graduate from college, and it's just simple compound interest, man. Young people will love it.
Yeah.
Young people will love it. The next one, number 4, our words matter. I like that, bro.
Yeah.
Like when you say our words matter, you know, Mignon, one of our friends, she said, speak what you seek until you see what you spoke. And it's like, words do matter. I'm oftentimes criticized a lot because I say, man, you know what? I'm not going to say I'm a victim of our past as a black man. I acknowledge the fact that things have happened, and I also acknowledge the fact that things need to change. But I'm speaking life through my words.
Yeah.
I'm speaking wealth through my words. And I'm also speaking reality that some things need to be put into place and to help us out. You know what I'm saying? But when you say words matter, what do you mean?
Yeah, so specifically, you know, this was about money, but it's really about anything. It's about your happiness. It's about your abilities. Yeah. If you say that you're going to be wealthy, you're going to be wealthy.
Absolutely.
Now you got to do some work.
Yeah.
Right. The manifestation thing doesn't happen without the work.
Right.
But you have to speak life into yourself and into your money. All right. The more you say something, you're speaking it into your subconscious. You believe it, you live it. And I teach that to my daughter. If you say that you're going to be wealthy, you're going to own a business, you're going to believe it and you're going to do the work and take the steps to do that. I come from a place where there wasn't a lot of money, and I heard people say things like, I'm broke, I don't have, I can't. There were a lot of limiting statements that were true for that time. Yeah. But, I've learned that we got to change the way that we talk. Yeah. In this moment, I don't have, but I will. Yep. I am working towards, and I would even say, don't even give energy to the negative. Right. I will have. Yeah. I am going. This is what's happening in my life.
Come on, man. Listen, teach your kids to talk clear, speak life. That's so good. I'm going to close the laptop on this because this is where we're going to end. This is where we're going to end today's show. Before we get into this last point, Courtney is an amazing brother, man. He is a brother. One thing I love about people is we can agree to disagree on certain things and still be dope people, dope friends. I know him. I know his people. I love it. This is a solid man right here. But this is where we disagree. Number 5, Courtney says, use debt to build assets. Use debt to build assets. Break it down, brother. Break
All right. So I want to be clear of the intent of this rule. Okay. All right. So the rule is don't borrow money unless you're doing it for something that's going to allow you to build wealth. And so there are a few different things that fall into this category. All right. So if you're going to college, I'm okay with you borrowing money for college.
Courtney.
I'm okay with that. All right. If you're borrowing money to buy investment property, I'm okay with that. I
actually am okay with you borrowing money to buy an investment property. Okay. I am actually a little bit okay with that.
All right.
But bro, we have a hell of a problem in the student loan industry.
Oh man.
So you trying to tell me if your daughter come home and says, Dad, I'm gonna borrow $100,000 to go to school, you are okay with that?
Absolutely not. So let me tell you how I'm handling that. Like, no, I'm not okay with that.
Oh, but they said it was okay, Courtney?
No. So even then, you have to take a strategic approach to how you're financing college. Now, we're gonna do 2 years in community college, more than likely. Yep. We're gonna have an idea on what you want to pursue. Okay. And then we're gonna choose, hopefully, an in-state school that you can attend, that has that major or area of study that you're interested in. Okay. And then, we have, more than likely my daughter won't have the issue to where she has to borrow money, but for another family, like if you need to borrow that money, that's okay. What's not okay is my kids going to college. I don't care where they go. They just gonna borrow the money to pay for it. Like college is a luxury product.
Absolutely.
All right, it is insane. Yeah. The cost of college the cost of college increases like 8% a year.
Absolutely.
All right. So you can't just send your kid off somewhere, and it's also the easiest money that you can borrow and get.
It is. Yeah.
So you can't just send your kid to borrow the money and then everything's okay. I'm not okay with that.
So what you're saying is, because like Tennessee has a Tennessee State Promise program. So it was like the first 2 years of anyone going to community college, for the most part, if they're in that particular state, they go for free.
Yeah.
So take advantage of the 2 years.
Take advantage of the 2 years.
Okay, so let's say, for an example, this kid is straight A's, but they didn't get a scholarship. You're still saying that straight A student go to the community college for the first 2 years.
To figure out what they want to do.
I like it. Okay. And I'm speaking to a father. Then after that, we transfer to an in-state. What if your daughter says, "But Dad, I'm in Tennessee, but I want to go to, I want to go to Howard in D.C., but that's going to run me $60,000 a year."
Yeah.
But she only got scholarships for $30,000.
Yeah.
And she wants to be a school teacher, but she want to go to Howard to become a school teacher. What are you telling your daughter?
Hey, baby, we're not going to Howard. Like, you can pull up if you want to go to home, if you want to check out Howard homecoming.
Yo, your face was like, I feel you.
Yeah, I understand. Like, people want a lot, baby. But listen, I think pursuing the field of education is fulfilling work. And I love our teachers.
Yeah.
But we have to make financial decisions that are going to allow you to love what you do. And what's going to happen is if you find yourself in $200,000 in debt and you're going to be a teacher, you're gonna have a level of disdain for the work that you're doing because you're struggling financially. You can't love what you do when you're struggling.
So I think I follow what you're saying. What you're saying is student loans is not the first thing. It's the, okay, cool. Do we have a plan put into place? The plan that we have in place, if we're missing $10,000 to complete that plan, then we take out the $10,000 in student loans. But it's the last thing. If we can get scholarships, funding, and pay for it cash, that's our plan. But if we have all three of those things put into place and we need $10,000 to get into school, you're saying you're okay with that?
Borrow the money.
I think my thing would be is how do we figure out how to get that $10,000 cash? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, and I can't be sitting here and be like, that's just dumb, that's just stupid. I can't sit here and say that because I love how you said like, yo, but yeah, you're not going out of state and you're not gonna rack up all this debt, and then now you're out of school, you're working, and then now you don't even really enjoy your field because you're drowning in all this debt with the field you want to get into.
Yeah.
But what I hear you saying is like, yo, if all we're missing is $10,000 and we've worked our butts off to really pay as much as this off cash, scholarships, grades, grants, and we're only missing $10,000, then it's like, then that is okay.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say is that's not the end of the world if you take out $10,000. So I'm not going to say he's just stupid because he's not stupid. That's Courtney. He ain't crazy. But I will be like, yo, I'm trying to figure it out over the next 4 years. But I love how you said, yo, take advantage of all the programs, in-state school, everything before you take out the student loans. Yeah. And even on the real estate property, I know a lot of people say, Anthony agrees with that. Here's the thing, especially in the Black community, we're not going to be having $3-4 million just sitting on the side to go pay cash for all these real estate properties.
Yeah.
I took out a loan to invest into an apartment, into a duplex. And my goal is to pay it off within the next couple of years. And I think that's my philosophy is like, all right, cool. Before I borrowed the money, I looked at everything. Okay, what will it bring me in if I get renters in it? And then how long would it take me to pay it off? Excuse me. And so, hey, how many boogers in my nose? No, I'm just playing. And then it's like, for me, I want to be debt free, and I would like to get to the point to where I can pay cash for it for all my real estate properties. I actually own a few land without any money on it, but I saw this great opportunity. I said, you know what? Okay, cool. What's the game plan to do that?
Yeah.
But okay, here we go. All right, here we go. I want to go get a credit card to go enjoy, or I want to take out a private loan to go.
It was the enjoy part for me. Like, we take out a loan for enjoyment.
Your face was like, okay. I want to go get the brand new BMW just came out, and I want to get a BMW. So I'm gonna go borrow $70,000 to get the brand new BMW.
Hey man, I am not a So I'm not a car person. Like I have driven luxury cars. I've had several actually, and I hate cars, man. They're so expensive. They require so much attention and maintenance, especially luxury cars.
Yeah.
And when you try to like buy used luxury cars, they're a cash dump.
Yeah.
All right. So I will say this. Let me say this. If you really want a luxury car. You're not gonna like this. All right, look.
Shoot.
If I have $70,000, I am not taking $70,000 to buy a car. If I got $70,000, I'm gonna go invest it somewhere. So because I'm gonna earn more interest on that investment than me paying the depreciation on the vehicle, right? You dumping $70,000 into a car is going to depreciate every day.
Why would I not like that? Because I have a luxury car? I mean, because that just means that you value other things, and that's fine.
Yeah, I think that, no. So it's not about the luxury car. It's like the trade-off.
I got you.
All right, so if I can borrow the money for the $70,000 car and maybe I pay 5% interest, and then the cash that I save from buying the car, I can invest it, and maybe I'm making 8% interest on the investment. I got a 4% spread on my money.
Nah, of course.
So I would actually finance the car.
You would finance a luxury?
I would finance a luxury car.
Hell no.
I would finance
Hey, because it's like now we got to worry about debt and the APR.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, it's like, now it's like, every time I hear that philosophy, it's like, oh my gosh. So if the interest rate is 5%, but if I invest money and make 8%, I think what we tend to forget, and I'm not knocking you. I mean, this is just, my, we just having a conversation. It's like, still on this side, I still have debt, and I still have an APR. So it's like, for me, I'm like, rather than buying a luxury car, go buy a car you can afford to pay for just cash. And then work your way up to that luxury car. That's what I did. You know what I'm saying? I drove cars that were nice and dependable. And then I went to another car that was nicer and a little bit more dependable. And then I saved and I got, my ultimate dream car over a period of like 12 years of doing that whole process. But it's like, man, it just feels so much better. I love the investing side. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that philosophy sometimes, to the average person in America watching this show, they hear that and like, oh yeah, he's right, so I can go do this. Because I saw this one video, and it's not on you. I just thought it was just bad advice. This is one guy teaching his daughter, well, okay, go finance a car. It's like 3.5 interest rate, but you can go over here and invest the money, and you can make 10% a year on that. I'm like, yeah, but she still has debt. What if she loses her income? What if she loses her job? She still has to pay that thing back.
Yep.
And the average person is living paycheck to paycheck. So to teach that advice, I'm like, no.
It's the behavioral piece that always gets tricky with finance, right? Like, we could come up with the numbers and make the numbers make sense, but what are you really gonna do?
That's it.
Are you really going? And this is a conversation you got to have with yourself. Are you really gonna take this $70,000 and invest the rest of it if you finance this vehicle?
And here's the thing: majority of them people are not gonna do it, bro.
They not.
They not. People are like, I'm gonna get a credit card used for emergency. I'm gonna get a credit card and pay it off every month. No, the hell you ain't.
Yeah.
You're just not gonna do it. Because if that is the case, everyone who says that, that's everyone in America. The credit card businesses would not be in place today.
Yeah.
If everyone is paying it off before the interest hit, they would not be in business today. So, man. So,
it requires a level of discipline to these strategies. Like, you got to be committed to it, right? You can't just don't just justify your purchase, right? People be out here just trying to justify their purchase. Right. No, you got to do the work.
Hey, man, listen, man. That's my guy, Courtney, y'all. I like him, y'all. Ladies, he's off limits. He's off limits, ladies. All I'm gonna say. I'm sorry, ladies. He's off limits. But the guy is solid, y'all. And so we're gonna drop his information in today's show notes. We're gonna drop his program for young people. We're gonna drop his Instagram. We're gonna drop his website. Go check him out. This is a brother out there who's passionate about helping our young people build wealth and to just really set them up so that way their generation can get our information and scale it even higher. And I want to make sure that my kids can take whomever I marry, our wealth, as we're building our wealth together, and go higher. Not maintain it, but go higher. And it starts with the information that Courtney is teaching within his program. So I want y'all to go check it out. Subscribe to his information, subscribe to his Instagram, follow his journey. And high school teachers, middle school teachers, elementary school teachers, look him up and get his program into your classrooms because it will bless you, man. So, Courtney, thank you so much for coming by, bro.
Bro, appreciate you for having me, man.
It's been a while, man. I like this guy, yo. We'll see y'all on the next show. Peace out.